According to Spencer Theorem, Anthony Yarde has been offered $4.2 million to go to Eastern Europe and fight Sergey Kovalev for the WBO Light Heavyweight Championship. I just want to say a massive thank you to all the listeners, all the regular watchers, my subscribers, people that like, comment, who really help bolster the attraction of this channel. Let's get right into this one. Anthony Yarde, according to Spencer Theorem from Sky Sports Boxing YouTube podcast thing, claims that Anthony Yarde has been offered $4.2 million by Sergey Kovalev and his team to go to Eastern Europe to take their fight. I don't know what to say about this one, because Tunde Ajayi, who is Anthony Yarde's trainer and manager, did say probably about 6 weeks ago that they weren't going to Russia, and a lot of people were speculating that this was a bit of a cop-out so that they didn't have to take the fight. Tunde Ajayi was saying that Anthony Yarde was the A-side commercially, and that Sergey Kovalev should come to the UK. He was talking a lot of wet, saying that he wanted the fight to be at the Emirates Stadium and that Anthony Yarde should get the lion's share of the money, and we all knew that that was not going to happen. So it looks like Sergey Kovalev, he might be getting backed by possibly a Russian billionaire who's got a lot of money to throw around. I mean, if you're going to offer Anthony Yarde for $4.2 million, if this is actually legit, how much is Kovalev going to get? Surely there's got to be a very rich man who's desperate to see this fight and is happy to sort of take a loss on this one. I mean, even if you stuck this fight on pay-per-view in the UK and Russia, I still don't think you're going to get the money back. Just because Anthony Yarde is not a big sort of draw here in the UK yet. And Sergey Kovalev is way past his peak. Obviously, he's lost to Andre Ward twice, and he also lost to the guy for that vacant WBO belt before sort of wrestling it back from him. I would like to see the fight because I want to see how good Anthony Yarde is. I think Yarde's had probably, 16 or 17 professional fights, or is it 18? And he only had 12 amateur fights, and he sort of climbed the rankings very quickly. A lot of people tried to say that Anthony Yarde has been sort of mismanaged and badly promoted, but to me, I think that's just a load of bollocks. If you look at Anthony Yarde, he's got a huge global ambassador sponsorship with Adidas. He's got deals with Maxi Muscle, and I think he's got a few other sponsors here and there. Anthony Yarde is doing very well for himself, from a guy from humble beginnings in Ilford to, supposedly having the opportunity to fight for multi-million dollars or pounds, whichever way you want to put it. I really want to see this fight because, just like a lot of people, I actually don't know how good Anthony Yarde is. But one thing I do know is that Sergey Kovalev is sort of over the hill a little bit. So maybe Frank Warren and Tunde Ajayi are thinking to themselves, this is the best chance to go ahead and win a world title. If you see my previous video about how the light heavyweight division is stacked, if I was Anthony Yarde and if I was going to take a world title shot, it would be against the aging Kovalev, who is about 36 or 37. I wouldn't be trying to fight Berta Biev or Bivol or any of the other guys. So, this might be his best shot of picking up a world championship. One thing we do know is that these light heavyweights don't expect to see many unifications between them. All four of the major champions are all Eastern Europeans, and they have absolutely no intention of fighting each other. I don't know if they've all grown up around the same sort of gyms and camps, but they all seem to be friends, and nobody isn't going to be fighting each other. So maybe getting Anthony Yarde in that mix is definitely something that we should be looking at doing, just to have a better chance of getting unifications and then, potentially an undisputed light heavyweight champion. I'd like to see the fight because I know for a fact that Sergey Kovalev doesn't like body shots, and Anthony Yarde so far has looked very vicious to the body. Obviously, we know that he hasn't been fighting that, the best opposition, but at the same time, you can only knock out what's in front of you. I'd really like to see this fight happen, and I hope Spencer Theorem is right. Let me know your thoughts on this one. Do you think Yarde should go over to Russia? Do you think that he might get robbed? Do you think he can win this fight? Can he knock out Kovalev? Will Kovalev knock him out? Leave a comment, hit like, hit subscribe. That's the end of the show. because Remstar says so. According to Spencer Fearum, Anthony Yarde has been offered $4.2 million to go to Eastern Europe and fight Sergey Kovalev for the WBO light heavyweight championship.